It is Saturday, end of the week, and welcome to a new edition of Jackson Pigskins. I'm your host, Tom Pollen, along with Wanda Weidman.
Hello.
NFL training camps are open.
Finally.
Yeah,
Woohoo.
we're thrilled about that.
Yeah.
Yep. And according to reports, Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix are tearing up the field, just firing bullets. So will Penix and Taylor Heineke split the second team reps like Morris first announced? We're going to go over that a little briefly. Also, it's been announced that Cousins will not be taking preseason snaps.
Bad
which
idea.
seems to be happening a lot. But yeah, I have opinion on that too. I kind of agree with you. And much to Kirk Cousins' disappointment, by the way.
Yeah.
He wanted to play some preseason football. And we'll finish the show discussing some of the big contracts that have been handed to young quarterbacks this offseason, especially this past week. Our team's spending too much money too early, trying to lock in what they think is a franchise quarterback, or what they hope is a franchise quarterback. So a lot to talk about, a lot of things that we want your opinion on. So send in your comments. We always love getting comments, interacting with the fans, and seeing how things go from there. So before we get started, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, the sponsor of Atlanta Sports Unlimited and the show, Prize Picks. Prize Picks will match up to $100 of your first deposit. So if you sign up with Prize Picks today, use the promo code ASU, you will get an extra $100 in your account. So always a good thing to have.
It's a great deal. How can you pass it up?
Exactly.
Right?
300. So, but use the promo code ASU to support the channel and the show. Prize Picks not only has NFL player props up, they've already posted player props for week 1 of the NFL season.
Crazy.
So if you want to take a look at week 1 and project out some player totals, some player props, it's there for you. So, and we're still a few weeks away from week 1, but they have it for you. The Falcon prize pick for this week is week 1, Kirk Cousins. Passing yards versus the Pittsburgh Steelers at home is set at 249.5 yards. So Cousins opened 2023 against the Buccaneers with 344 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, an interception, and a 102.9 passer rating. So you might want to give this one some thought.
Exactly.
Exactly. So, and he is healthy. He's been showing he's been healthy. I know that was the big worry between everybody, but
he was cleared, right?
He was cleared.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. He said, Kirk, you are good to go. And then Cousins went out and just started knocking off the number 2 defense. So went 15 of 16 in 11-on-11 drills. Oh, that's taking care of a dog for a friend. And
I was wondering what that was.
Uh-huh. So yeah, I don't know what's gotten into him, but every now and then, maybe he's just happy football season's opened up.
That's it. Just see.
Yeah. He's happy about the Kirk Cousins news. 11 of 16 in 11-on-11 drills against the second team defense. So just looked outstanding. Of course, you could say it's a second team defense.
Right.
But you can also say that it's Cousins' first action. Hang on just a second.
Sure.
I can't. So, there we go. My God. Darnell Mooney. He and Cousins seem to hook up pretty nicely. 5 catches to Darnell Mooney. Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and Tyler Algier had 2 catches apiece. So it looks like Cousins is ready to come out and grab that number 1 job. Even though we know the number 1 job is him, he wants to go out there and prove the number 1 job is his.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what a quarterback does.
Well, yeah, and he knows he wants to utilize the weapons that he has. There's a reason why he wanted Darnell Mooney.
Yeah.
So I think he knew that there would be that similarity, and he saw something in the similarity with Mooney and Justin Jefferson, even though they're not the same caliber. But maybe we haven't seen something in Mooney that, wasn't allowed there at, in Chicago. But who knows? It might be. I would say this. I would say if the connection with Cousins and Mooney explodes, if you're into fantasy football, right now Mooney is a steal. I would grab him. You just wouldn't. You'd be surprised.
Yeah, exactly. If, and as I say, it's 2 days into camp. We all know that. Everybody looks good 2 days into camp. All your rookies are outstanding. They are playing like 5-year veterans. Your top draft picks are going to be Pro Bowlers. What else? Your 7th round draft pick. Hell, we had that in Chicago one time. 7th round draft pick, wide receiver, Braverman, making catches all over the place in preseason, couldn't get unstuck from the defensive backs when he got on the field.
Right, exactly.
So that's the way it happens. But they all look good right now, and we will keep an eye on them as we go forward. Looking for the Falcons' first preseason game, which I think is August 9th, isn't it? So we got a couple weeks to go yet.
Right.
Let me look that up real quick. August 9th against the Miami Dolphins, and they will be doing some drills against the Miami Dolphins before that game, and Cousins will get a chance to work in some of those drills with the Dolphins, and then they go out on the field Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. All you Falcons fans, set your timers. Put that on your calendar if you haven't already, because it's coming. August 9th. So looking at that, Penix went against the number 1 defense and took all the second team snaps against the first team. And we'll talk about that in a second, because before camp, Raheem Morris said that Penix and Heineke will split the second team reps. But Heineke, I guess, was nowhere to be found, except on the field with the 3rd and 4th.
Interesting.
But was 7-12 in 11-on-11 drills, and had 2 very effective passes to Rondale Moore, one that was dropped, one that was caught. So, Penix is trying to show that, hey, I'm here for a reason. They took me for a reason. And
those were back shoulder throws, right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty good.
That is impressive for a rookie, right?
Yeah.
Like to see a rookie who can make those back shoulder throws.
Yeah, he loved doing that when he was throwing to Roma Dunze. Loved throwing those back shoulder throws. So I think he's just even showing that you're able to do that should wake up a lot of defenses to go, okay, he can do that, and the players want that. If they can catch the balls that way, that's awesome. It's great.
Yeah. Well, Drake London can. I mean, Drake London, he's tall, and he can catch the ball against a physical cornerback. He can go up after it.
Yeah.
And that's one of the great things about having London is, if you put up a back shoulder ball to London, he's going to get it. He puts that big body in between him and the defensive back.
Yeah.
And that's the advantage he has. And that's fun to watch him do that kind of thing. Larry Orange is broken the ice. Come in with a comment. Do you let Cousins play in any preseason games, like a couple of quarters here and there? We're going to get to that, Larry. That is on the topic list. So kind of talking about early camp. And as I say, we got a couple of weeks to watch these guys play. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see the development. I'm looking forward to the first practice in pads.
Yeah.
Let's see these guys in pads. That'd be nice. That's one of the things that bothers me about preseason, about practices, is very few are in pads anymore.
Yeah. And I think you got to get that real feel if you're in pads. It's a big difference when your body is not with all that heavy equipment, and then you put on that equipment. Now your body has to adjust and be able to adjust to the plays. So I think they get a better view. Yeah, you're going to get those beautiful throws, and there's those wild catches when you don't have the pads on and they're not hitting you. But now get those pads on, and let's see how quickly or how high you can jump to get that ball and make those plays. So it'll be – I can't wait to see what they do in pads. I want to see how the Falcons defense answers and how the offense puts it together with those pads.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem. You're not seeing realistic football. You're seeing these guys not really hitting out there. And yeah, the quarterback, if you got a veteran quarterback like Cousins, yeah, you're going to look damn good.
Right.
He's in shorts, defense is in shorts, and he's not allowed to get hit, and he's going after it. So that's the problem I have with practices these days, but that's the way they go. And the first 2 days sound wonderful. Both excelled in one-on-one 11-on-11 drills, but you can't take it all and say that the Falcons are ready to tear apart the league because their quarterbacks are looking so good, because it's, you got to take that into consideration, that they really haven't played padded games yet, padded practices yet. So, but so far, it's nice to see these guys go out and execute, and nice to see Cousins healthy.
Yep.
Throwing accurate, throwing like we know he can throw the ball.
Exactly.
And seeing Penix excel a little bit as a second team second team quarterback. That one of the problems I have is Morris coming out early in before camp opened up, saying that Penix will be splitting second team reps with Taylor Heineke. I don't want to see that. I want to see Penix taking all the second team reps.
Yeah.
Let Heineke get the reps he can get. We know what we're going to get out of Taylor Heineke. We've seen it. he went in last year in place of Desmond Ridder and was no improvement.
Right.
So why are we worried about Taylor Heineke?
I think it's all these promises that are made. Oh, don't worry, you're still, you're still there. Where whatever there's a competition. But if you've been watching the games, if you know what Penix can do, you've watched him in the championship, you know this kid can throw the ball. He's a gamer. So to see him being able to match Cousins, even in the practices that they've been having, ball to ball, throw to throw. I mean, it's a no-brainer. He's gonna be the guy. He's gonna be the one that is gonna come after Cousins if Cousins can't do it and he can't play. Right. Penix is the guy. You're exactly right. So Heineke this is just lip service to Heineke, to be honest. I mean, it's lip service because Heineke's not even close. And again, he's a veteran now, and he's a backup, and he did, really well with the Commanders for when he came out, and everybody was talking about Heineke. He comes to, Atlanta now. I'll give him this. He was playing under Smith to see what was there. Who knows how that went? Now you have a different offensive coordinator. Let's see what happens. I just still think that Penix is going to be the one that's going to step in. I have no question about that.
I agree with you. If Cousins get hurt, it's Penix. It's not going to be Heineke. Let Penix take all the second reps. Yeah. Let him take all of the second team reps. Let Heineke work with the third team. Let him be the scout quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, that's how you develop a young quarterback. It's reps. If you don't give them enough reps, you've now ruined your chances of having a good quarterback who can step in and continue. Let's say Cousins is doing phenomenal. God forbid something happens and Cousins can't play anymore. Penix goes in and can take it all the way through. Heineke is a question mark. So it really is. You develop the person you drafted so high for, grab him and give him the reps that he needs. I totally agree. It's a no-brainer. It really is.
It really is. Yeah, that's why you drafted this guy where you drafted him.
Yeah.
Even if he's the rookie, he's still your second stringer.
Right.
He's still the guy you say you're going to move forward with. This is the guy who's going to take us beyond Heineke. I mean, beyond Cousins.
Right.
So, if Cousins does get hurt, it's got to be Penix. So let Penix take all the second team snaps. Let him start play into the third quarter in the preseason. Let Heineke get, some late third, early fourth quarter snaps. And that's it. I don't want to see Heineke on the field.
Yeah.
In major, in these preseason games and in practice. I don't want to see Heineke on the field. Penix has got to take these snaps. He's got to be the one. He's the one you're saying is the next quarterback. So keep going.
Yeah.
Now, and again, going back to Larry Orange's early comment, you let Cousins play in preseason games like a couple of quarters. Well, Raheem Morris has announced that Cousins is not going to play a down in the preseason. He will not take a snap in the preseason. And we have seen more and more of this around the NFL. But it seems to me like some of your best quarterbacks still get some snaps in the preseason. Mahomes takes snaps in the preseason. a lot of starters around the league take snaps in the preseason, and it's almost like you're trying to put bubble wrap around the guy,
Yeah.
But
It
I
defeats the
remember Arthur
purpose.
Smith came in, installed his new offense, did not play Matt Ryan one snap in the preseason, struggled coming into the season. Arthur Smith did not he did not play Mariota, did not play Desmond Ritter one series in the preseason. And but they're not getting snaps. Guys who need time with this offense, getting used to the offense, getting used to calling plays and what the options are. And,
Yeah.
I think Cousins needs to be out there. And, I don't know if Raheem Morris thinks that, well, I got to have him ready for week 1, so I'm just going to wrap him in bubble wrap, and we'll keep him healthy for that first game. And maybe he's looking at last year the way Aaron Rodgers came out and 4 snaps in got hurt. Well,
right.
That's football.
Yeah, I mean that. It is what it is. You go in and you're playing a sport that you can get hurt in any minute, any second. We've seen players before who were jumping up for joy of a ball batted and land on their foot and tear an ACL or pop an Achilles. It happens. It can happen in any instance. In this case here, Cousins needs to, after not playing for a year, needs to be able to get in and get that rapport with his team. So being in a live game, in a preseason game, at least a quarter, and just throwing the ball, getting the rock out, making sure he's got that the team has his cadence and they're able to connect with the players. This is different from him playing in Minnesota and knowing his players, knowing his receivers. These are all new receivers for him, all new running back. Everything is new. So let him have that time out there. Let him be able to get acclimated with the team, even if it's just, 4 plays. But at least let him get out there, try it out, let him get that so that he knows, okay, when we get to practice, I know what I need to do here. I know what I want to work with this player, just to get that feel of it. And then, and then if Morris wants to bubble wrap him for the rest of the preseason, fine. But at least let him have that instance where he can have more of that live rapport with the team, even the offense, just being able to see, okay, this is what I have. Now I know what I can work with.
Yeah.
So at least give
Cousins agrees.
Yeah.
Cousins saying, I want to see some live bullets in the preseason.
Yeah.
He wants to be out there. He wants, and yeah, you got a new offensive coordinator too, Zach Robinson. So, you've got a lot of new that you're not letting him work with on a real football field under real conditions. And even preseason games don't run as full speed as, an in-season NFL game, but it's as close as you can get. You cannot recreate full speed on the practice field, no matter how hard you try.
Yep.
Because there's nothing at stake.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, is there's nothing at stake when you're on the practice field. It's a whole different thing being on the field against real competition. So I'm disappointed in it. I think I look back to a point where, it was a 6-game preseason, and I don't know, Wanda, do you go back there with me? the 6-game preseason. But starters used to play all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And
They
all of
used
a
to
sudden,
play.
we're down to a 3-game preseason. Now, I know that these guys are getting a lot more money, and you don't want them getting hurt on the field in the preseason, but they can get just as hurt running in practice as they can in the preseason.
Right. The only difference is that the quarterback doesn't get touched.
Yeah,
so
right.
I think that's the whole thing. In practice, can't touch the quarterback, so that kind of leaves it to where he's invincible at that point. Put him in preseason, he's not invincible. So if they lose him in preseason, now they're stuck with the backup. And with some of these teams, we've seen that the backups are not going to save that team, and they've put everything into that starting quarterback, hoping that he's not going to get injured, that they have to go to that backup.
Yeah.
So in this case here, I think they feel a little bit more comfortable because Penix is a backup, so he can take the game if they need to. But because the money and the time they spent with Cousins, I think they want to see their return from the money that they have paid out in this contract. So let's let him play. And if that means we need to keep him away from preseason, he's a pro. He should be, it should be a no-brainer going into the first game of the season and being able to throw the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really the thought process.
So, we'll see what happens. But to me, you're slower out of the gate when your quarterback hasn't played in the preseason.
Yeah.
And you're going to be facing a damn good defense in week 1 in the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, exactly. What is he going to do if TJ Watt's coming at him?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they need to be prepared either way. So let him be prepared and get at least the feel of his first team. Get that where they're acclimated, they know him, because that first team offense needs to know the rhythm of their quarterback. This is a new quarterback. So if they don't know the rhythm, they don't know what they're doing, they're just guessing at it, and he's in the dirt right from the get-go. So I totally agree. They need to at least get him acclimated so that he gets used to them, gets used to the players, know it, and then he can step back. And like I said, you can bubble wrap him the rest of the preseason, but at least he's gotten that out of his system, able to do that. So,
well, I think we're going to be talking about this a lot more.
Yeah.
As the preseason moves forward. Marcel agrees, said should play some preseason.
Marcel knows. Marcel knows.
Mm-hmm. Larry Orange comes back. I think he should play at least a quarter each preseason game. I don't know if I would go that long, but I think the first couple of games I want to see him in on a drive.
Yeah.
Just to put him out there and say, get some consistency going with him.
Yeah, exactly.
So, let's see. Todd says, Wanda, hello. Can you help us sway Tom on the fact Morris is a huge question mark?
Well, Morris is, at this point, I would, you have to think about it, Tom. There's the question mark. Is Morris going to be the one that is going to hold back Cousins from doing what he needs to do? We're seeing a little bit of it right now. Is he thinking what is best for the team and getting the team going forward? Or is he, trying to be too overly cautious with what they have? So that's a good question. I think Morris is also has to be looked at here in what he's doing for this team, and say, okay, we need to go in the league that we're at, in the division that we're at. We have to go at it head on.
Yes.
And they've got to go head on with Cousins, who, in my opinion, is the player that the Atlanta Falcons can get to the postseason with.
Yes.
I think I admire Kirk Cousins in what he does, and his ability to negotiate his own contract, and how he knows his worth and what he can bring to the team. All right.
Yeah.
So one of those things I know is that he negotiated with, when he was with Minnesota, negotiated his whole contract there. That's how he got into Minnesota, and then negotiated his contract with his agent with Atlanta, getting a 4-year, $100 million contract. And that included a $50,000 signing bonus, $1 million guaranteed, and an average salary of $45,000 base salary. And he's shown what he can do with his resume of work to show for it. Okay, he's got the resume. He got the Vikings into winning the division, into the postseason. So we know what Cousins can do, and we know what he can do for Atlanta.
I think the Vikings make the postseason if he doesn't go down last year.
Right. Absolutely. I think it would have been a huge competition with the Lions, and where they would have been, who knows, they could have wound up getting past the Lions, and the Lions would not have gotten to where they were. And it would have been the Vikings. Who knows how it would have gone if he was healthy. But again, it's the craziness of this contract world, Tom.
Yeah,
kind of leads me to this transition here.
Well, before the transition, one thing Larry Orange said, oh yeah, they can get hurt. Look at Detroit's kicker, out for the season.
Right? Right in the get-go, they lost their kicker.
Yeah.
And now they're going to be doing some
and that's the guy they signed from the XFL or one of the spring leagues.
Yeah, the spring league, yeah. And he was one of the good ones too. So they went and got him. Now they're going to have to look again, or I don't know if they have a backup one. I'm not sure.
From what I understand, they had 4 kickers come in for a kicking competition. So I don't know if that was yesterday or if that's happening today and tomorrow, but they do have 4 kickers they're going to bring in and test out and see which one.
Well, at least they could test them out in preseason. Yeah, so that's a good thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And Todd just wants to get on you because you said 1,000 instead of million. So, yeah.
Sorry.
The way things go on the internet, how dare you, one piece of grammar you miss and that's it. All right.
It's all good, Todd. I appreciate it.
All right, take us through the transition, because we got talk about some young quarterbacks that, boy, they're going to be living the rest of their lives fairly nicely.
These contracts
are nice money.
Yeah, these contracts are insane. Just yesterday, Green Bay signed and have agreed to sign Jordan Love to a whopping $220 million contract, 55 salary per year with $155 million guaranteed, and with a $75 million signing bonus. That makes him the highest paid quarterback in the league. Now, you kind of look at this and go, okay, he sat behind Rodgers for several years. Rodgers leaves, and he gets a chance to lead this team, and he did pretty well for leading his first season on his own, leading, and he did pretty well. and they've got to look at, okay, we need to think of this extension, what we're going to do. Let's just pay him a buttload of money now in hopes that he's going to be our franchise QB. He's locked in. He played one good season so far. So to think the assumption is it's going to go forward the same way, it just makes me, wonder, is any quarterback that's only really played one good season in their portfolio, do they grant that much money straight off the bat? And we're seeing it like crazy. Why?
Yeah.
You tell me, Tom, why are teams willing to break the bank to young quarterbacks who haven't displayed a full body of work like I just described of Kirk Cousins? So how, what is their thinking? What do you think is coming through their brain that this is what we need to do right now?
Well, I think the Packers are impressed with what he did with young receiver staff last year.
Right.
Now you had Romeo Doubs, but Jalen Reed, Dontavian Wicks, and Christian Watson all had good seasons.
Yeah.
He made a great, and they're all young. So they're all going to be around for a while. So he did a great job with this young receiver group. A lot more than what Aaron Rodgers had done with his young receivers the last couple of years. But one thing that I have always said, and I hold to this, defensive coordinators, for the most part, one or two are, defensive coordinators are not stupid. All right. They have a whole year of tape to watch on Jordan Love. They know what he does, where he likes to go with the ball when he's in trouble, how he likes to move. They have keys. When he lines up like this, he's going to throw. Or else he's going to hand off when he's, takes the snap like this. There are little keys that you read that even defensive players study from week to week because they want that little bit of advantage. And Love had a heck of a season. He started slow. He was rough. But he got it together and got the Packers into the playoffs.
Right.
So he did lead that team into the postseason and beat the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Which
right.
I don't know how great that is.
The Cowboys, that's a whole.
Yeah. But that's the thing. He's only put up one season. I like to see a quarterback put up two or three seasons. And that's why these rookie contracts are 5 years. Well, I know they were up against it with Jordan Love because he had sat for, 3 years?
Yeah.
So they were up against the contract limit. His rookie contract was running out. But still, I'm not certain he's the quarterback yet until I see him in the second season because, again, as I say, defensive coordinators are not stupid.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, every coach on the Packers schedule has watched every game at least twice that Jordan Love played last year. And they have a book on Jordan Love. Every quarterback has a book. Patrick Mahomes is tough to read, but there's a book on Mahomes. Making the book work is another thing. Well, there's a book on Jordan Love. Now let's see if Jordan Love can break that book. And it's like in baseball, a hitter. A hitter just comes up to the major leagues. He has a great week. Then pitchers catch up to him. Then it's up to the batter to readjust. And it's always an adjustment game. Well, now that the question is, can Jordan Love adjust to what the defenses are going to do against him this year? Because I guarantee you, it will not be the same thing that they did last year. So, but yeah, I mean, they were up against it. They had to sign Love or decide we're going to sign him or we're going to start over. So that was a, unique situation. We had Trevor Lawrence has signed a big contract this offseason. And he really has not performed like you expect a first overall draft pick to perform.
Yeah, that was a shocker. I think a lot of people were shocked at that amount of money that they were paying Trevor Lawrence, just even with his body of work. But again, it's like, and I don't know if maybe this run of quarterbacks that we had in this draft, that they're looking ahead and going, okay, maybe there's not the run that we need. We're going to sign what we have now, and they're going to throw everything on Doug Peterson to be able to, to bring Trevor Lawrence to where he needs to be. And he was a first round draft pick as well. So I just don't know if that constitute that big of a deal.
But it's interesting because Doug Peterson, and as we talked about last week, it's not Trevor Lawrence on the hot seat. It's Doug Peterson on the hot seat. Because they have now said, Jacksonville has now said, Trevor Lawrence is our franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
And if Doug Peterson cannot get what is needed out of him, he will go. Doug Peterson is expendable. Trevor Lawrence is no longer expendable.
Yeah.
So, so that's, first overall draft pick. Yeah, they think they have their franchise quarterback, even though he has not played like a franchise quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think he was not sure, but I think he was paid. I think Lawrence was paid higher than Tua.
Yes. He's guaranteed. I got it right here. Average salary is $55 million a year. But he's got a 5-year deal that's going to pay him $275 million by the time it runs out. I think there's an out year for both teams. Looking that up right now. Spot Track has been throwing a lot of ads up, so it's hard to read sometimes. He has a potential out in 2029. That will be zero dead cap.
Okay.
So they do have that, but you're paying him for the next 5 years to take you to a Super Bowl. Because if you're a first overall draft pick, you're going to the Super Bowl or you failed.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So then I guess what did Tua?
Tua just got paid. Tua just got paid. Value of his contract is $212.4 million. He's going to average $53 million per year. His contract runs until 2028. So 20% of the team's cap is going to him. There is, from what I see, Spot Track doesn't have it now. They don't have the full figures up yet.
Okay.
So there's probably an out somewhere in there. But, yeah, I mean, how has Tua played? Tua's been effective, but he has had, he had those concussion problems that were terrible.
Right.
I thought he wasn't going to play anymore. I thought his career was done.
Yeah.
But, Tua's going into his 5th season. Last year was a Pro Bowl year. It was his best year of his career, but that's the only year he's put together consistently. So again, it's almost like Jordan Love. You've seen him succeed one year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You've seen him be a Pro Bowl quarterback one year. He threw for 1,000 yards more than he had ever thrown last year. Can he do it again?
Yeah.
Because as I say, defensive coordinators now have a book on Tua and have a book on
Jordan Love.
Yeah, have a book on Jordan Love.
Yeah.
They have a book on Mike McDaniel, Tua's coach. They know what he's going to be doing. What was the other contract that went off this year? One other big contract that went off this last week. We had Lawrence, we had Tua, and Jordan. Okay, no, we didn't have Lawrence.
No, Lawrence was earlier in the year, but Jalen Hurts just signed his.
Yeah.
I don't see. I mean, from those, I think we're still waiting on Dak Prescott.
Still waiting on Dak Prescott. It's interesting because earlier in the offseason, Florio of Pro Football Talk was speculating on who's going to be the first $60 million quarterback, the first $60 million average quarterback. Yeah. And Dak Prescott might be it.
I'm gonna differ with you here. Okay. I think the shocker is going to be Brock Purdy. I think the 49ers are going to sell the farm for Brock Purdy because he's already taken them twice and they're still working on his deal. And I think that is going to be the biggest shocker is what they're going to pay Purdy.
Yeah, because, in 2024, Purdy, he was a 7th round pick.
Right.
He's the 73rd highest paid quarterback in the league and has gone to 2 NFC championship games.
Correct. Exactly.
And one Super Bowl.
Right. So he's all right. He's already been to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to look at him and say, okay, we know we're going to get somewhere with him. I think that's exactly how the 49ers organization is going to be looking at him. And as they're working on this contract where everybody's waiting to see what that contract is going to look like. And honestly, I think that it's going to be, I think it was ESPN that mentioned that it could go as high as 67 million. Now that's their projection. ESPN, I take it with a grain of salt, right. But I think it's going to be close to that. I think he's going to wind up being the highest paid.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because, the 49ers have used all that cap space to really load up on offense and defense.
Right.
And they're not going to have that cap space anymore in another year.
Yep.
It's done. You've got a guy taking you to the Super Bowl. You've got to pay him.
You got to pay him.
But
so I think if they're going to do it now, and they're going to have to figure out everything else later.
Yeah, they're going to. They're going to have to. And the problem, again, with some of these early contracts, and we mentioned last week about hot seat, Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
He got paid big for one playoff appearance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're watching the Hard Knocks off season, I mean, you kind of like look at where where that organization was and what they were thinking. And you're hoping that things are going to go well with Jones as he kind of goes forward. Now, I saw some of the things in camp, and he looked pretty good in what he was doing, but you kind of have to look at what they did in the offseason to help Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they did more in the defense than they did in the offense after losing Saquon, and so that they could build up the defense. But now it's, did they help Jones enough to garner, paying him what they did right off the bat, and now being stuck with kind of like this, not the same scenario, but you have Deshaun Watson, who pretty much jailed the Browns in the quarterback position. They are stuck with a ball and chain there with Deshaun because of the amount of money that they put. Now he's got to do what he needs to do to get there. So again, it kind of gives you that question of, are the teams paying QBs too early to lock their starter in hopes that they have a franchise QB, or is it more about being on the cusp of greatness that these teams are writing these big checks? It's, and being that now you've got Purdy in that conversation back there to see where that ceiling is going to be. It is going to be crazy.
Yes, it is. It'll be interesting to see, because he's not going to have the lineup pretty soon. And I think that's a big reason why they haven't come to terms of Brandon Ayuk yet.
Yeah.
Because they know they still have to, they've got some contracts that are coming on the books in a few years.
Yeah.
Next year,
and they're going to have to make that decision. They're going to either have to say, we keep Purdy. He's gotten us to where we want to go, and we're going to pay him the money, and they let Ayuk walk, and they're hoping that who they have in Purcell. I think they drafted Purcell, hoping that he's going to be the one that they can keep because he's on that rookie contract, and let Ayuk go.
Yeah. So, and that, that's going to enter into a lot of their thinking. I don't think anybody's really considered that yet. The fact that they haven't signed Ayuk is because Purdy's going to have to get paid.
Yeah.
Unless he completely collapses this next year, and I just don't see that. I think
he's
proven himself to be a quality NFL quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and another thing is, it all comes to when the quarterback, when the contract comes up.
Right.
Because it's always next man up with the quarterback.
Right.
You sign the biggest deal out of all NFL quarterbacks until the next contract comes up, and that becomes the biggest deal for your NFL quarterbacks. So, but yeah, I think Deshaun Watson, that pretty much started this big guaranteed money wave that we're into. So it's interesting. The Chiefs have done with Patrick Mahomes is kind of signed him to a long-term deal, but signed him to a deal that they can adjust along the way. He's never going to be the highest paid quarterback, but he's always going to be among the highest paid quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So it's interesting how they handle that, but yeah, I think you might be right. I mean, Dak Prescott is coming up. I wonder if Jerry Jones is going to pay him that money.
I don't think he is. I really don't.
No.
Yeah, and that's and the sacrifice is going to be CeeDee Lamb, because I think that was another issue there as well. You've got a quarterback, so you got two teams that have the quarterback that they've got to pay for, and then you got two of their number one receivers that are also, not playing in preseason or dressing up because they want their contracts, and it's going to be who's going to be the casualty, and it's going to be those wide receivers. If it's the QB of the future for that franchise, they're going to pay the money for it. But
Yes.
I'm not sure where Jerry Jones is and if he's going to pay that money. I don't know.
No, I don't think anybody knows where Jerry Jones is right now.
Exactly. So you don't know what he's going to do.
That's the thing. Before we sign off, we got a comment from
here you
Tony
go.
Wright.
You got it, Tony.
Make
You
around
got it,
$65 million a year.
Yep.
Yeah, I would say, Tony, you're probably
right.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
I would say 60 to 65 million. He's going to be the first quarterback because his contract has come up at the right time.
Yep, exactly.
And he's going to be the first quarterback to get that 60 million.
Yeah.
So I got to say so. Tony thinks also Dolphins are going to be in salary cap hell with the Tua contract because Tyreek Hill's making a lot, and they just paid Jalen Waddle.
Yeah.
No, but the thing is, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are two of the guys who make Tua Tagovailoa look good.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Tony Brockford Purdy, I do not say is a fluke. That's what Tony's saying. No, he's not a fluke.
Nope.
He's going to have to get along with a little bit lower level of talent on his offense and defense starting in 2025 and moving forward because of the fact that, the 49ers have lucked out over 3 seasons because he's Mr. Irrelevant. He got paid like a 7th round draft pick.
Right.
And he doesn't get paid he gets paid like a Super Bowl quarterback now. So,
yeah,
that's just the way it's going to go. So, going to be interesting to see, but a lot of news on the contract situation this last week, and we'll see what breaks as we continue forward and continue to get ready for the 2024 NFL season. We are out of time. So I think we had a great show today. You had a fun show today, especially now that we have the training camps going full steam. We're going to have news every week that we can talk about. Yep. Yeah, it's just training camp, but it is.
There's always news in the NFL.
Always news. That's right. So we're looking forward to that. Just to mention, again, talk about the show sponsor, Prize Picks. Make your first $100 deposit to Prize Picks, and you will get a matching $100 bonus from them. Use the promo code ASU. Support the channel. Support this show. If you like what we're doing on the show, give the channel a like. We're over 3,000 subscribers now. So
that's awesome.
Yep. Time to keep moving up. 3.5. Here we come.
There you go.
We keep moving up with that subscriber mark. Like the show if you liked what we've given you today. Give us a thumbs up. You can always get me on, if you want to talk to me on Twitter, TJ Pollen. Want to talk to Wanda on Twitter? It is
Wanda W63.
Yeah, Wanda W63. I'm sorry.
No worries.
Used to it, yeah. But again, we had a fun time today. Always have a fun time talking to fans on Saturday. I love this. So
Me too.
We will talk to you next week. Wanda, it's been great.
A lot of fun.
Yep. We'll see you next week, everyone.
You got it.